Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
No, my name is Mike Piwowarski. I am your co-host from the East Coast. That's the co-host with the most from the coast with the most. Here on The Rundown, where we bring you 2A news and conservative views. Welcome to the program. Craig, it's not just any day, is it?
No, it is Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum.
Yes, yum, yum, yummity, yum. I don't know why. I never get tired of that song.
That's a great song.
It is.
I make my family listen to it all the time.
You just have it like on loop in the car. It's like, I have a playlist. It's one song, and it is Taco Tuesday.
It is.
It's
It is
raining
my
tacos.
Thursdays. I usually play it to them on Thursday to keep them on their toes.
They're like, did I lose 2 days somewhere?
They're not expecting it.
Why
like,
is
oh,
it
I've got a
always
song.
Tuesday?
Boom! I got a song about grapes too. That's almost as fun as that one. So
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know how we worked that one in, but hey,
Yeah.
if it is that fun, we will find a way.
maybe for Thirsty Thursday we could use it for grapes because we make grapes with the Thirsty Thursday drink the vino. You know, say it.
Drink the vino. That sounds good.
We'll figure it
sounds
out.
good with me.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Hey, folks, before we get started, please make sure, however you are partaking of the program, whether you're listening to us on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, or watching us on Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, or if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or on OpsLens, please make sure to share us with your friends so that they can participate in the live chat as the program is taking place. Because, hey, this is where the combo is at. So tell your friends, tell your friends, tell your friends. Tell them right now. Don't wait. Right now. Now.
Right now.
Why haven't you done it yet?
Right now.
Okay, there you go.
Do it.
Okay, thank you.
Pass
Thank
us
you for getting that
around.
done.
You have to pass us around. Do you know why you have to pass us around, Craig?
Why?
Because tomorrow's 420, so you have to pass us around.
Puff, puff, pass. Puff, puff, pass.
Puff, pass. Puff, pass.
Or listen, pass. Listen, pass.
Listen.
There you go.
Listen, pass. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Some of you will get that. Some of you, it's still going to continue to go over your heads. And that's definitely a generational thing, I'm going to guess.
Yes. Said our good friends Cheech and Chong. Yes.
From our good friends, Cheech and Chong. There you go.
That's it.
All right,
Free
Mikey,
Tommy
let's get
Chong.
into today's news. And, I'm guessing that, actually doing the puff, puff, pass is going to be a little easy. Well, I guess you're still not going to be able to do it on an airplane. But but it actually looks like we will be now relieved of having to wear masks on airplanes. Now, or in airports. Now, here's what's really cool about this. It wasn't just any judge that did it, but it was a Florida judge. Once again, Florida man strikes again, has ruled the mask mandate, the travel mask mandate unconstitutional, and has actually struck it down. And the interesting thing is, Mike, it doesn't appear that anybody is fighting this. It doesn't appear that anybody out there is like, well, I mean, the White House is like, well, we're disappointed, but no one appears to be fighting it, at least not in court so far.
Okay, you have to bring up the LA Times story just so we can make people aware of what's going on out there.
Okay. So we did receive, just before we came on the program today, we did actually receive an alert that, that there was a Hawaiian judge who was actually going to be reinstating the mask mandate.
And we before we jump into that too much, there you go. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
You got rickrolled.
That's right. I got rickrolled.
You got rickrolled.
Yes.
Listen, and this is funny for a number of reasons. First off, when Obama was in office, we would see we that he put in a couple of whack-nut judges, right? And during the end of his term, as the Congress was passing things, we saw this Hawaiian judge. Remember the Hawaiian judge that would say no and would file an injunction. And then during the Trump administration, we saw this Hawaiian judge jump all over everything. And the warning went out. We told Democrats, the Republicans told Democrats, listen, the more you support this Hawaiian judge, working to outside of their lines, okay? This is not the reinterpretation of a law. This is a judge that is basically trying to make new law rather than interpret law. This judge was clearly in the pockets of the Obama people, and at the time, soon to be the Biden people. So this Hawaiian judge was crazy, and you'd see things roll out, and a Hawaiian judge would put a stop to something that was going on in Iowa, had nothing to do with Hawaii whatsoever. And the warning was put out: keep it up. Trump's putting judges out there. And what's going to happen is all you're going to do is feed these new Republican judges to teach them to do the same thing. And this is exactly what you got. You've got Judge Catherine Mizell out of Florida, a Trump appointee. When presented with it, she said, you know what? The precedent's been set. Evidently, it's okay for a federal judge to make a ruling on something that is not only within her jurisdiction, but because it does apply to her jurisdiction. Because normally, Craig, what we'd see is if they went to her jurisdiction, it would only apply in her circuit. But nope, because of the precedent set by the Hawaiian judge, nationwide enforcement on her order. So guess what, Democrats? What you're seeing now with Republican appointed judges doing is because you allowed it to be done with your Democrat judges.
Just goes to show you, that's why you should always be careful of setting a precedent like that. And another example is just, I don't know, the Supreme Court judge, the way in which they've done justices. Used to be you used to have a cloture vote in order to appoint judges. Well, Obama wanted to appoint some judges, and so the Senate, the Democrat-controlled Senate, decided that they were going to get rid of and they were going to say, well, we don't need the filibuster to appoint judges. Well, that set the precedent that allowed Donald Trump to appoint 3 justices to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
You once again, you always got to be careful when you break a precedent or when you open a door that you're not always going to be the one in charge, and you have to think about how is this in the end going to be used against you. And Republicans tend to be a little more thoughtful when it comes to some of that stuff. When it comes to that stuff, but we also tend to be the ones that once that precedent is broken, we're going to take full advantage. Just like we're going to take full advantage once the door is open.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's almost as if, Craig, the Democrats are playing a really good game of checkers, and they know how to beat you on the board today. Right. Well, we're playing chess. We're going to beat you on the board tomorrow.
Well,
and that's
exactly because in the end, here's the thing: the mandate was stupid, and the fact that that nobody is fighting this. I mean, Sacramento of all places, they decided they're like, oh yeah, no, okay. Boom, we're done. We're not, no more masks. I mean, San Francisco is probably the only airport that is holding out like, we're going to wait and see what TSA says.
Yeah, Orlando Airport will probably do the same too with our liberal mayor. But I think I did see a Fauci popped up and was trying to, he was going, Omicron 2, and they just shut him up. Just put him back in his hole.
Yeah. No, okay. If you are still listening to Dr. Fauci, then you know what? Here's what you need to do. You need to mask. No, you don't need a double mask. You need a triple mask. You need to isolate yourself in your home. You need to do nothing but put Dr. Fauci press conferences on loop and just watch it over and over again and never come out of your home.
You need to mask your ears and your eyes is what you need to do.
Exactly. Do not interact with the public because you have clearly been infected with mass stupidity and dare not infect the rest of the world.
You've been Faucified.
You've been
He
faking.
got the Fauci. He caught the Fauci.
He caught the
They could
Fauci.
give him a
Got
shot of
that Fauci.
penicillin, clear it right up.
Got
He got
that
the Fauci.
Fauci.
Got that Fauci.
All right, moving right along. All right, here's something that we all knew. I mean, this is something we knew was destined to fail, and it has actually lived up to our expectations. And this is Seattle's new, or not new, because it's been around for 6 years now. Their gun tax, and or gun and ammunition tax. And in fact, when you purchase firearms or ammunition there in the city of Seattle, well, first of all, a lot fewer people are actually purchasing it in the city of Seattle. So they, number one, they noticed that the revenue that they said or thought they were going to be getting, they're not getting. But then on top of that, what they're noticing is that the goal of it was to reduce, quote unquote, gun violence or violence involving firearms. Well, new data that is coming out of Seattle PD is showing that, well, that's not exactly the case. 2021 year-end crime report basically is showing that there has been a marketed increase in violence involving firearms, actually year over year, there in the city of Seattle, which basically means, as with most taxes, it's it's not accomplishing anything except taking people's money.
Craig, bring that photo back up here. I want to point something out here in that photo. You've got your 1911 there. It looks like perhaps an arms core. You got some nice SIG ammo in the picture, about 5-6 rounds of ammo. And to me, it looks like $118 or $108. I see a $100 bill. Up in the top left, I see a 5 folded over, and then I see about 3 singles. So I don't know who thought that guns and ammo were worth $108, but that's just another. I think that's a left liberal picture again that failed to hit the mark. But it's just, and I know we know Dave Workman rather well, and I know he took this picture from one of their Seattle. This is probably a Seattle Strong website photo or something like that. So, yeah, just a little note I saw there. Yeah, Craig, this law was, like you said, destined to fail from the moment we saw it. It predicted over $500,000 a year, and funds would be brought in to educate and make people safe. First off, Craig, this is, like you said, this is a tax, clear and simple, on firearms ownership, ammunition ownership, maintenance, training, everything that's to do with firearms and ammunition. And taxes on firearms are illegal. So they went to the state Supreme, to the circuit court there. Then they went to the state Supreme Court, which is about 110% liberal, and they said no, it's not a tax, it's a fee. Yeah, and everybody was like, oh yeah, whatever, okay. This is another one that has not made it to the Supreme Court yet, the federal Supreme Court. But their estimates have ended up not at $500,000 a year, and in most times, except for 2020, under $100,000 a year. And Craig, listen, you know what this did? What all this law did was drive legitimate business out of the city of Seattle. So they did not get the actual tax from the sales. The dealers moved out of the city of Seattle, so there were less dealers in Seattle to begin with, and it forced sales away from the state law that says we have to do 100% universal background checks. So people ignored the law completely and made their own private transactions. Mm-hmm. So their goal is to get more people tracked and on the books for firearms transaction, ammunition transactions, and the only thing it was able to do was the exact opposite, and drove people underground to make those transactions, person to person, thumbing their nose at the illegal state law.
Well, but see, that's how the left governs. That's how they make decisions. They don't govern in the real world, Mike. They don't look at laws that they're proposing and say, okay, what will people actually do? Instead, they say, what do we hope people do? What do we want people to do? And they say, well, if people are buying guns, we want them to give money or put money into this program so that we can basically, and by the way, this money never goes into safety. It goes into usually gun confiscation. And when you say law enforcement focused on gun confiscation, and to anti-gun messaging, and to nonprofits that promote anti-Second Amendment messages.
Yes.
That's where these resources go. None of it goes to safety. I can tell you because in the state of California, we have a fund that every time you buy ammo, money's supposed to go into the safety fund, and all that money ever does is go to confiscating firearms. So,
Yeah.
Once again, this doesn't function the way in which they claim it does. It never does. But it's all about making firearms. It's also about making firearms more cost prohibitive, which means that if you're low income, it's a less likelihood that you're going to be able to afford to exercise your right to keep and bear arms.
They've
And that's
created
really
their
what
own
all of this
racist
comes down to.
policies, right? Yeah. Yeah, they've created their own racist policies. Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly what all this is about.
Yeah. Once again, they're playing chess. They're playing checkers while the rest of us are playing chess. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we'll tax all the gun sales in Seattle. All right, we'll just do them somewhere else.
Right.
Jeez.
And
what? What?
well, and the funny part about it is, and I still remember Leland Yee yelling at us in outside a hallway after our committee. By the way, Leland Yee is the former California state senator, now California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. How shall we say?
He's part
inmate.
of the penal
Let's call him an
colony.
inmate. I was trying to find a nice euphemism, but he's an inmate
Yeah.
now for trafficking firearms.
Right.
But he's an anti-gun senator who was yelling at those of us who advocate for the Second Amendment, saying, "You're always skirting the law. You're always trying to get around the gun laws." No, it's called complying with the law. You wrote the law.
That's right.
We simply encourage people to comply with the law.
That's right.
You call it a loophole. It's not a loophole. It's called compliance.
It's not our fault.
You're stupid.
That you're exactly right. That you're a moron.
You're a freaking moron.
Yeah. As Bugs Bunny would say, what a maroon.
What a maroon.
What a maroon.
Anyway, so yes, not yet another failure. But Mike, what do you think the chances are that they will actually repeal that tax?
Oh, I think they will. I mean, at some point, it'll work its way to the federal circuit up to whatever the ninth there. It'll get past the ninth and then work its way up to the federal Supreme Court, and they'll say, "No, it's a tax. You can't have a tax on guns."
Well, by the way, that's the other thing. So the difference between a tax and a fee is there has to be a direct nexus between, like service provided. Like we're charging you a fee to do this. And there is no nexus here, and that's what's going to wind up happening. Is they're going to basically determine that there is no real direct nexus, and it should be thrown out now. Now that with the Supreme Court that we have now under Justice Roberts, they probably would have tried to find a way. Because once again, I'm not saying he's anti-gun, but I am going to say he's a statist. So he would have tried to find a way, I believe, to support allowing them to continue the tax.
Very true. Very true.
All right. Moving right along. Next on the issue, we've got, here's another, and this is kind of an interesting one. So a group that puts itself out there as a free speech organization. In fact, they refer to themselves as Free Speech for the People, right? They have actually filed a lawsuit trying to keep Marjorie Taylor Greene from being able to be on the ballot in this upcoming election season. And a judge, mind you, an Obama-appointed judge, has decided that this lawsuit may go forward. Now, the thing that they're using, Mike, is an old law or old provision that was from post-Civil War or during the Civil War or post. I don't remember if it was post or pre. But it dealt with insurrection. If someone is guilty of insurrection, that supposedly disqualified them from being able to run for office. So they're trying to say that because of statements that she made and because there was an unguided tour at the federal court at the federal Capitol building, they're trying to say that she is guilty of insurrection and therefore should be disqualified from being able to run for federal office.
Yeah, if you recall, you probably don't recall. I recall from history class, not from being in person. It was during the Reformation after Reformation after the Civil War. President Lincoln had actually written the text for this before he was killed. Once he saw that the South didn't have much longer, and it says that Craig, the plan was rather to keep the country divided after we were back together and have all of the politicians from the South jailed as insurrectionists. Was to forgive them of those acts, but one of those provisions was that they could never hold office again. They couldn't hold, a federal office. They couldn't hold state. They couldn't even be on their homeowners association if such a thing existed back after the Civil War. They could still collect all of their retirement checks and go home, but that's what they were required to do: stay out of politics. And it kept the two generations there out of politics and brought the United States back together. It was a wonderful plan, rather than having the South hate us for jailing their leaders. And it was called the Insurrection Disqualification Act, or provision of the law. And that's what they're trying to use now to say Marjorie Taylor Greene can't be a sitting representative because she took part in the insurrection. Well, first off, we know that she was not there. She made comments along the lines of, it's just another riot. She also made comments along the lines of, look, have you looked at the Declaration of Independence? It's our duty to do so when we feel that there's tyranny. So she made some comments, whether you think they're right or wrong. What they weren't is illegal. And they're trying to use and say that she's an insurrectionist. Well, first of all, the insurrectionists that this was used for were people that left a country, seceded from a country, swore to a new allegiance to a new country, swore to kill their old country, and then went to war for 5 years. This is nothing along those lines. This is I'm sorry, liberal hack judge in Georgia. They judge shop to find some liberal judge against Marjorie MGT there, or MTG, and this will get thrown out at some point. It's just a kabuki theater right now, and it's going to hold no water whatsoever.
Well, there are a couple of things with that. So the interesting thing, Mike, is think about this. None of the 700 plus people who have been charged or are going through the legal process have been charged with insurrection. So right. How exactly are you going to say, and by the way, she has not been charged at all with insurrection.
Right.
So I don't understand where they even have legal standing to be able to push this, number one. It's a hack job, because there was a similar case was brought against Representative Madison Cawthorn of North Carolina. Right. And obviously a Trump appointed judge actually wound up throwing that one out. So I think this is one where you'll see quickly it should go to at the very least. See, and in this case, by the way, what they're looking for was an injunction. And what she's asking for is an injunction, because if this thing continues to move through, she could potentially be barred from being on the ballot. Meaning, if they they could wind up printing ballots without her name on it.
Right, and that's a whole world of hurt. What she should have done, and they did not do, is they went and sought the injunction against the lawsuit in the same jurisdiction. They should have immediately went to higher jurisdiction and went to federal jurisdiction and got it done. But they were trying to play by the right rules.
Right.
And keep it in that area in Georgia. And it just goes to show you, I'm sorry, that Georgia's full of racist people. They just happen to be black, Craig.
Yeah. No, in this particular case, I would have to agree with you. And once again, they're all their goal is, quite frankly, to take over Georgia. They see Georgia as a purple state. Folks, if you're watching this from Georgia, I am hoping that you prove them wrong in this upcoming election.
Yep.
That's what we is a hoping. All right, moving right along. All right, you guys probably remember when President Biden, when he was announcing his restrictions or his new rules in relation to quote unquote ghost guns or home built firearms, that he talked about how it precluded that when the Second Amendment was originally written, that it didn't include that people couldn't own. It included restrictions to certain firearms, that people could not own cannons. Now, I will tell you, I think those of us who watch the show, those of us who were involved in the Second Amendment community, knew that that was a bunch of hooey. We all knew it was lies. But we figured that the left, no one on the left, no one in the mainstream media would actually call the president out. Well, one of the most unreliable sources of fact checking that I think we all know is out there is PolitiFact. I've dealt with them. They generally tend to be completely and utterly wrong on most of the things that they check when it comes to conservatives. But in this particular case, oddly enough, they got it right. And they actually put out a video, and I'll show you a small snippet of it where they actually talk about, how the president was wrong.
We reached out to historians and experts who've studied the history of the Second Amendment. They told us there weren't really federal gun laws until the beginning of the 20th century. There were local laws limiting guns before that, but they weren't aimed at criminals. A 1792 Virginia law banned black people, whether they were free or enslaved, from owning guns. Other laws targeted Native Americans. Those laws were aimed at social control, not crime prevention. What about owning your own cannon? There was no law banning cannon ownership at the time that the Bill of Rights was passed. We know from historical documents that privateers set sail in the 1800s with their own private cannons.
Okay, so it establishes two things here. Number one, yeah, President, you were wrong. You could own cannons. But the other thing that I think it did, and they didn't even remotely go into the detail of some of these laws, was that the original gun laws, at its root, at its cause, gun control is about racism. She said social control. I'm just going to say this. It was about racism. It was about keeping black people or freed slaves. It was about keeping Native Americans. It was about keeping Mexicans or people coming from our southern border, as well as from keeping Native Americans and Chinese from being able to own and possess firearms and ammunition.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And anybody that's ever picked up a history book knows this. Anybody that's ever listened to a pro Second Amendment advocate speak knows that this. It's always been about, and this is the roots of gun control, was about racism, about controlling control, right? Control and keeping minorities from having firearms. It's that simple. And to hear Knucklehead Joe, Shotgun Joe, talk about it was never about cannons and never about. I keep waiting for him to talk about the deer and Kevlar again. I mean, somebody shoot him up with the tapioca Thorazine and put him back to bed already.
Yeah, it was always about keeping those people from owning or possessing firearms. And it's amazing. But to me, the fact that PolitiFact actually got this one right was astounding. Completely astounding. And once again, it just goes to show, I think at this point, the left is done with Joe Biden, and they've pretty much decided, we're done. We're not going to apologize for him anymore, at least except for the extreme sycophants. They're still kind of trying to prop him up, kind of like Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, they've listened. They're so done with him. I've heard they've gotten cartoon character escorts for him now.
Yeah, well, yeah. As a matter of fact, and that, by the way, that leads us to our parting shot, or for one of our parting shots, anyway. Now, this was one I saw this video originally and thought it was just, once again, another continued sad moment, where the president didn't know where to go and they had to send the Easter Bunny to get him the right direction. But I found out that the Easter Bunny had some ulterior motives. Check it out.
Pakistan should not, and Afghanistan should be people.
Oh, the Easter Bunny, easy, Mr. President.
Watch. Well, the president mentions Afghanistan. The Secret
Mr.
Service
President,
Easter
no,
Bunny.
Mr. President, don't say it. Don't say it.
Now watch him. He just wanders. He just come back this way now, and just maybe I'll walk over here. Oh, look, what's that over there?
I'm watching as the Easter Bunny is like blocking him from talking to people. Like, no, you don't get to talk to the people anymore, Mr. President.
Well, listen. How do we? If he says something stupid, let's send a Secret Service agent out there to move him away. No, that'll look bad. Make the Easter Bunny do it. What? Okay, that's their whole plan. Put the Secret Service in the Easter Bunny outfit. That way, it doesn't look like they're trying to direct him for talking about policy. It's just the Easter Bunny trying to move him away. You know,
I'm
the
just
Easter Bunny
I would
didn't
love
take him somewhere to talk about to go pick up more eggs or anything else like that. That's a Secret Service agent keeping Biden's mouth shut.
Well, Mike, I will tell you, and this is, I have to admit that, I want to verify that is in fact the original audio, because I wouldn't put it past people to add in at words about Afghanistan, but that is hilarious where he says Afghanistan,
Yeah,
and the Easter Bunny just nope. Oh yeah.
Whoop.
Oh, Easter Bunny.
way.
Look, someone
No,
says,
this way.
look, you heard someone yell, look, the Easter Bunny, as soon as he says Afghanistan. And then the Easter
play it
Bunny
again.
stands
Play it
between
again.
him and whoever he was talking to about Afghanistan.
Play it again now that people know what we're looking for.
Which then leads me to our second,
Or don't play it again.
Our second parting shot. If that's how things are going to work, then it's going to be real interesting watching the second season of Build Back Better as they try to pass what they're trying to call a skinny Build Back Better. Watching him try to push that initiative or push those bills or whatever it is that they're going to try and do, it's going to be a dumpster fire because clearly he cannot communicate effectively or efficiently. He has no idea what he's saying. He reads what is there, and they have to make sure that they don't add anything extra, because whatever they add extra, and they have to also make sure he doesn't ad lib, because he's gonna screw it up.
Oh yeah, he's going to screw up. Definitely. This guy's he's out there. The comments are not his own.
Well, and here's the other thing, and this is Democrats. You're just gonna have to accept this. We're into election season. Nothing is going to pass. You are not going to be able to get in. You are not going to pass anything because if it's even mildly controversial, your members are not going to vote for it because they know they're going to look bad. Well, one or two things are going to happen. Either they're not going to vote for it because they know it's going to go bad, or they know they're going to get slaughtered, so they're going to try and get what they can get while they're still here, while they're still in there. We shall see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not going to be that big of a mystery. We'll see it happen.
Yep. All right, Mike, before we go, quick shout out to the sponsors.
Let's say hi to our good friends at Guerrilla Machining, Grid Defense, and of course the fine folks out there at the California Republican Assembly.
Yes, folks. Tell you what, check them out. All of their links to their websites are in the description of this video. Check them out. If you like what you see, get a little cash their way. And by the way, remind them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. With that, we're going to call it a day. So we're going to go enjoy the rest of our Taco Tuesday, and we will see you tomorrow on Hump Day.
Hump Day!